mtg-portal. This is going to be the first video of a new series going through, and I thought we would do some in-depth reviews of the 2016 Commander series. So the first one we're going to start out today with is going to be Mirren of Clan Neltoth. This is one of my favorite Commander decks in the series. I actually bought this because I'm going to take some of the cards out and add them into my personal Reanimate E.D.H deck. So this one's called Plunder the Graves. It is a 100 card, geared for multiplayer play, is what it says. It includes a foil oversized commander card, which nobody really cares about, but I collect them anyways because they're kind of cool. But yeah, no, this is your 2016 Commander. This will be the first one. We're going to review every Commander of the entire series. So look forward about once a week to be getting, well, yeah, once a week to every 2 weeks, getting a new video on this particular series. So let's dive right in. And let's see what this Commander box has in store for us. So I hope you guys enjoy this new series. I know as we are very EDH focused on our channel, I thought that this would be some good content for you guys to check out and enjoy. And if you like this series and you like these videos, leave your thoughts and comments down below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and you know what you might like to see me do differently. So our oversized card, again, is Mirren of Clan Neltoth. It is your commander, 2 colorless of black and green. And we'll go more in depth on this particular card later as we go through all the cards in the sets. Let's make sure we got enough camera room here. And the first thing you're going to notice is our experience counter. This will make more sense when you guys actually see the commander in the set, and I'll give you a second to read through what that commander does. Next card up, of course, is going to be our Cardoza Guildmage. For those who are not familiar with Cardoza, it's 1 colorless of black and a green. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains Intimidate until end of turn. You may pay 2 colorless of black and a green, sacrifice a non-token creature, and put X/1/1 green sapling creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the sacrificed creature's toughness. So she can become a bit of a troublesome card for your opponents. You've also got Wall of Blossoms. Another really cool card. You know, especially being that it's an intro EDH deck tech, you know, it's not bad. This is not designed to be a $600 EDH deck. It's designed to be put in the sleeves directly out of buying it from your local Walmart or Target and playing your opponent. Next up is Verdant Emissary. Add 1 colorless and a green for a 2/1 elf scout. When Verdant Emissary dies, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Remember, this particular EDH deck is all about recursion, so these cards are meant to die again and again and again. Next up is Satire Wayfinder. Excuse me, a 1 colorless and a green. It is a 1/1 Satire. When Satire Wayfinder enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard, i.e. filling your graveyard for recursion. Another land mana ramp is Sakura Tribe Elder. 1 colorless and a green for a Snake Shaman. Everybody who plays Magic, especially EDH, should be very familiar with Sakura Tribe Elder. You may sacrifice Sakura Tribe Elder, search your library for a basic land card, and put that card onto the battlefield tapped. Then, of course, shuffle your library. Another particular creature in this set is Bloodbrain, coming in at 2 colorless and a black for a vampire. It's a 2/2. You may sacrifice another creature, and Bloodbrain gets +2/+2 until end of turn. We've also got a Phyrexian Rager. For 2 colorless and a black, it is a 2/2 horror. When Phyrexian Rager enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. We've also got a Skullwinder. He's a 1/3 snake for 2 colorless and a green. It does have Death Touch. When Skullwinder enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Then choose an opponent. That player returns a card from his or her graveyard to his or her hand. It's a cool card, but it does have an obvious downside of letting your opponent get a card back. Next up is the world famous Wood Elves. Most people that play this format and Magic are very familiar with this card. It's a 1/1 for 2 colorless and a green. When Wood Elves enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Another E.D.H staple, which is Eternal Witness for 1 colorless, 2 green. It's a 2/1 human shaman. When Eternal Witness enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Absolute E.D.H staple. We've got Corpse Augur. A 3 colorless and a black for a 4/2 zombie wizard. When Corpse Augur dies, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of creature cards in target player's graveyard. We've also got another E.D.H staple, and I love me some Shriekmaw. He's in all of my black decks. He is 4 colorless and a black for a 3/2 elemental with fear. When Shriekmaw enters the battlefield, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature, and I get to evoke him for 1 colorless and a black. Basically, I can play for its evoke cost, and then it's sacrificed when it enters the battlefield. So I bring it back and just constantly evoke him, and he's nothing but a reoccurring creature killer, which is absolutely amazing. Next up, we have E.D.H Stomp Howler. It's 4 colorless and a green for a 4/4 beast. When E.D.H Stomp Howler enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. We also have Banshee of the Dead Choir. 3 colorless and 2 black for a 4/4 spirit. It does have Myriad. Whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may put a token that's a copy of this creature onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that player, or a planeswalker he or she controls. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. And whenever Banshee of the Dread Choir deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. So, this particular card can get nasty if you're running this deck against a lot of other commander players. It might be a card you look at possibly sideboarding, but I wouldn't run it main deck. It's expensive for what it does. I mean, 3 colorless, 2 black. But it is a 4/4 with Myriad, which does make up for that. So, really, it's going to be up to you guys where you run that card and if you run it. This one, however, should be in all green decks, and that's Acidic Slime. 3 colorless and 2 green for a 2/2 ooze with Death Touch. When Acidic Slime enters the battlefield, destroy a target artifact, enchantment, or land. No Phyrexian Arenas for you. No Gilded Lotus. No Thran Dynamo. No Soul Ring. No Sylvan Libraries. Yeah, Acidic Slime is amazing. Next up, we have Great Oak Guardian. At 5 colorless and a green for a 4/5 Treefolk. It does have Flash and Reach. When Great Oak Guardian enters the battlefield, creatures target player controls gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and you untap them. We also have Thief of Blood. Coming in at 4 colorless and 2 black for a 1/1 vampire with flying. As Thief of Blood enters the battlefield, remove all counters from all permanents. Thief of Blood enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each other counter removed this way. This goes back to the experience card that I showed you in your experience counters for your commander. This guy can get disgusting, especially if everyone else is playing a 2016 commander box right out of the, or commander deck, excuse me, right out of the box. They're all running experience counters. This guy can get incredibly big, beefy, and nasty very, very fast. Next up, we do have Caller of the Pack. It's an 8/6 for 5 colorless and 2 green. It does have Trample and Myriad, which is not a bad card. Again, it's a little expensive, but if you need a big beat stick to smack your opponents with, this is definitely a way to go. We've also got, the infamous Skull Clamp. Everybody knows what Skull Clamp does. Clamping Ornithopters for days. It's a mean, mean card. Of course, we have another E.D.H staple, which is Soul Ring. Absolutely imperative in any E.D.H deck, including, besides Pauper, because you can't have it in Pauper, but every other E.D.H deck, you're going to see Soul Ring featured in it. Next up, you do have a Golgari Signet coming in at 2 colorless. You may pay 1 and tap it to add a black and green to your mana pool. We have Lightning Greaves. Again, another E.D.H staple. Should be in every E.D.H Commander deck except for Pauper deck techs. Does give target creature haste and shroud, and it has a 0 equip cost. Great way to protect your commanders. We have Thought Vessel for 2 colorless. You have no maximum hand size. You may tap it to add 1 colorless to your mana pool. We have Diabolic Servitude at 3 colorless and a black. It's an enchantment. When Diabolic Servitude enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When the creature put onto the battlefield with Diabolic Servitude dies, exile it and return Diabolic Servitude to its owner's hand. When Diabolic Servitude leaves the battlefield, exile the creature put onto the battlefield with Diabolic Servitude. Basically, it's a reoccurring way. Well, I mean, it's infinite recursion. It's kind of an unlimited animate dead, if that makes sense to you guys. It's just a little bit more expensive. Next up, we have Altar's Reap, coming in at 1 colorless and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast Altar's Reap, sacrifice a creature and draw 2 cards. This works wonderful, especially when you're running a deck that's built around forcing your opponents to sack creatures. You sack your creature, triggering your enchantments and abilities that force your opponents to sacrifice a creature, and you get 2 cards out of it. You cannot go wrong with this card at all. Absolutely amazing. Tribute to the Wild, 1 colorless and a green. Instant speed. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact or enchantment. Another great way to get Soul Rings, Phyrexian Arenas, Sylvan Libraries, Threatening Dynamos, Gilded Lotuses, and just about anything nasty off the board so your opponents can't smack you with it. Golgari Charm, 1 black and a green. Instant speed, choose 1. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Destroy target enchantment or regenerate each creature you control. We also have Grizzly Salvage. This is basically filling your graveyard. Black and a green. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature or land card from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Putrefy, another wonderful card to have. 1 colorless, a black and a green. You may destroy a target artifact or creature and it cannot be regenerated at instant speed. We have Mulch for 1 colorless and a green. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Great way to fill your library, or your hand full of lands, and your graveyard full of creatures and or enchantments and sorceries you can bring back later. And then we get to the good stuff. First up is Marin of Clan Neltoth. This is going to be your commander. He's a 3/4 human shaman. When another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, return to the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Basically, it's infinite recursion. Marin of Clan Neltoth is absolutely disgusting. Love it, love it, love it. Next up, we have Mazriek Crawl Death Priest. I always screw that name up a little bit. It's an insect shaman with flying. Whenever a player sacrifices another permanent, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. This card is essential in the deck. We also have Jared, Golgari Lichlord, at 2 black, 2 green for a 2/2 zombie elf. Jared, Golgari Lichlord gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. 1 colorless, a black and a green, you may sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Sacrifice a swamp and a forest and return Jared from your graveyard to your hand. Just absolutely mean. We also have Champion of Stray Souls, coming in at 4 colorless and 2 black. It is a skeleton warrior. You may pay 3 colorless and 2 black, sacrifice X other creatures, and return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. You may pay 5 colorless and 2 black, put Champion of Stray Souls on top of your library from your graveyard. Another absolutely nasty little mythic. We have an Eldrazi Monument. For 5 colorless, creatures you control get +1/+1 and have flying into indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. We also have Centaur Vine Chaser. He is a plant centaur. He's a 1/1 with trample. Centaur Vine Bracer enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the number of land cards in all graveyards. Again, this can get dirty quick. Whenever a land card is put into a graveyard from anywhere, you may pay 2 green. If you do, return Centaur Vinecrusher from your graveyard to your hand. Another fun little card. We also have Bloodspore Thrynax coming in at 2 colorless and 2 green for a 2/2 lizard. He does have Devour 1, which does state, as this enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This creature enters the battlefield with that many 1/1 counters on it. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Bloodspore Thrynax. Can get nasty very, very quick. Definitely want this in your deck. Next we have Pathbreaker Ibex. He is a 3/3 goat. Whenever Pathbreaker Ibex attacks, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X till end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. We also have another rare. We have Scourge of Neltoth. Coming in at 5 colorless, 2 black for a 6/6 zombie dragon with flying. You may cast Scourge of Neltoth from your graveyard by paying 2 black and sacrificing 2 creatures rather than paying its mana cost. It's actually a pretty powerful card for that, and it works well in recursion. We have Wretched Confluence. Coming in at 3 colorless, 2 black for an instant. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Obviously, we're going to want to most likely either do the first or second ability. We don't want creatures coming from the graveyard to our hand. The goal is to fill the graveyard quickly. Next up, we have Dread Summons coming in at X and 2 black to sorcery. Each player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. For each creature card put into a graveyard this way, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield tapped. Another nasty little card. We also have Verdant Zealot coming in at 2 green for a 2/1 elf warrior. You may pay a colorless and a green. Sacrifice Verdant Zealot and destroy target artifact or enchantment. I also have Lolith Troll, absolute staple in any reanimate deck, for 1 black and a green. He's a 2/1 troll with trample. Discard a creature card and put a 1/1 counter on Lolith Troll. Pay a black, regenerate him. Nasty, nasty. I also have Kessig Cage Breakers. Coming in, it's a 3/4 for 4 colorless and a green. It's a human rogue. Whenever Kessig Cage Breakers attacks, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield tapped and attacking for each creature card in your graveyard. A lot of people will recognize this guy. Phyrexian Plague Lord is returned. 3 colorless, 2 black for a 4/4. He is a creature carrier. You may tap him, sacrifice Phyrexian Plague Lord, and target creature gets -4/-4 till end of turn. Or sacrifice a creature and target creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn. Basically, this card is absolutely essential because he's a sack outlet, and that's the whole intended point of our Reanimate sack deck, is to force our opponents to clear their board. So, yes, he's an absolute staple. Next up, we have Mycolith, coming in at 3 colorless and 2 green. He's a 4/4 fungi with Devour 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token onto the battlefield for each 1/1 counter on Mycolith. We also have Virtuous Zombie, coming in at 3 colorless, a black, and a green. It's a 3/3 plant zombie with flying. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a 1/1 counter on Virtuous Zombie. Next up, we have Cloud Thresher, coming in at 2 colorless and 4 green for a 7/7 elemental with flash and reach. When Cloud Thresher enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each creature with flying and each player, and you can evoke it for 2 colorless and 2 green. Next up, we do have Butcher of Malakir, coming in at 5 colorless and 2 black for a 5/4 zombie or vampire warrior, with flying. Whenever Butcher of Malakir or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. We have Eater of Hope, coming in at 5 colorless and 2 black for a 6/4 demon with flying. You may pay a black, sacrifice another creature, regenerate Eater of Hope. Or pay 2 colorless and a black, sacrifice 2 other creatures, and destroy target creature. We also have Terrestodon. Everyone loves a Terrestodon. Coming in at 6 colorless and 2 green for a 9/9 elephant. When Terrestodon enters the battlefield, you may destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents. For each permanent that is put into a graveyard this way, its controller gets a 3/3 green elephant. Yay! Don't worry, we'll make you sacrifice it later. Love Terrestodon. Definite staple. Next up, we have Verdant Forest. He's a 7/7 for 5 colorless and 3 green. It's an elemental creature. At the beginning of each upkeep, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token onto the battlefield. Next up, we have Bone Horde. It is an artifact weapon, 4 colorless mana. It's a living weapon. It is an equipment. Equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Again, it's absolutely essential in the deck, and it's quite nasty. Then we have Sever the Bloodline, coming in at 3 colorless and a black. You may exile target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature. It has flashback for 5 colorless and 2 black. And it is a sorcery. Honestly, don't ask me why this card is on the deck, because as EDH, most players are playing 1 copy of that card, and you're unlikely to see another on the board with it. The only time that I can see this being of relevancy is if it's a bunch of tokens. And even then, it's skeptical. Not one that I would run by any means. Next up, we do have Overwhelming Stampede, coming in at 3 colorless and 2 green for a sorcery. Till end of turn, creatures you control gain haste, trample, and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. We do have a Grim Backwoods. That's our first rare land. You may tap it to add 1 colorless to your mana pool, or pay 2 colorless and a black and a green, tap it, sacrifice a creature, and draw a card. We also have a High Market, another great land. Tap it to add 1 to your mana pool, or tap it, sack a creature, and you gain 1 life. Another sack outlet, absolutely essential in the deck. We have our final rare, which is Extractor Demon, coming in 4 colorless and 2 black. It is a 5/5 demon with flying. Whenever another creature leaves the battlefield, you may have target player put the top 2 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and it has Unearth for 2 colorless and a black. So, it's not a bad card. It's a little expensive for what it does, but it depends on your playstyle. As you can see just from the rares here, you definitely get your money's worth. This particular box cost me, I think, right around 39 bucks, and we've probably pulled at least 50, 55 in value. Next up, we're going to go through a few more commons and uncommons, and then we're going to end it with our lands. So first up is Victimize. Again, definitely all about that recursion. 2 colorless and a black. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Wonderful way to force your opponents to clear their board and bring some nasties out on your side. Primal Growth. Coming in at 2 colorless and a green. It's a sorcery with a kicker. Sack a creature. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. If Primal Growth was kicked, instead search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield. Not a bad way to, again, force your opponent to sack a creature and get some lands that you might need. Ambition's Cost, coming in at 3 colorless and a black. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. We do have Barter in Blood, coming in at 2 colorless and 2 black. It is a sorcery that states each player sacks 2 creatures. We have Rise from the Grave. It is 4 colorless, no black. It's a sorcery speed. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. And last up, we have a Spider Spawning. Spider Spawning states that you put a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach on the battlefield for each creature card in your graveyard. It is a sorcery for 4 colorless and a green, and it has a flashback of 6 colorless and a black. And then, of course, you do have your basic lands, which you're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 swamps, definitely not what I would run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 basic forests. My opinion, some of the worst land cards ever. Vivid Grove. Vivid Marsh. Absolutely hate those cards. In fact, to show you how much I hate them, they're absolutely worthless. Command Tower, which is an absolute E.D.H staple and should be in every Commander deck. Glad to have another one of these. Evolving Wilds, along with Terramorphic Expanse, should be in every multicolored E.D.H deck. Jungle Hollow, I totally agree with. Giving you a little life gain. Cannot go wrong with that, ever. Golgari Guildgate. Golgari Rot Farm, excuse me. We have a Tainted Wood.
What is up, mtg-portal? Thank you for watching our Commander 2015 Plunder the Graves unboxing and thorough deck check. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave your suggestions and comments in the box down below. If you haven't already gotten involved in mtg-portal, I have no clue what you're waiting on. Smash that subscribe link, leave a comment, get involved in our gaming community, and help support the content we open and produce. Also, if you haven't followed us on Facebook or on Twitter yet, I have no clue what you're waiting for. Smash the links down below. And if you'd like to get involved further with mtg-portal and help support us through Patreon, there is a link down below. Every small donation helps and gets us closer to opening booster boxes and older content that we like to do for you right here on the channel. If you can't support us through Patreon or do not want to support us through Patreon, please just make sure you like these videos, spread the word about this channel, and that helps out more than you guys know. As always, thank you. Thank you for watching our content. Thank you for being a part of this amazing gaming community. And from everybody right here at mtg-portal, we will talk to you all soon.